With a growing number of Republican-led states banning mask mandates for schools, despite the fact that this country has no approved vaccine for any child younger than 12 years old, the president of the American Federation of Teachers, who has expressed on this program her goal is to get all schools reopened 100% this fall, is now joining frontline workers in expressing concern over the shift in CDC mask guidance last week. In a letter obtained by NBC's Heidi Presbella, Randi Weingarten told the CDC director and education secretary, quote, "While this change in masking guidance makes clear the effectiveness of vaccines, it has also raised questions about how to apply it in all the environments in which our members serve: education, healthcare, and public service. For those entrusted with the welfare of children, any change or ambiguity in guidance triggers a significant impact on planning and classroom management." Joining us now is Randi Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, and the aforementioned NBC News correspondent Heidi Presbella. Thank you so much to both of you for being with us today. The story has sort of roared back into the headlines. And Randi, if you could just start by telling me what you want, what teachers want in terms of classroom safety for the fall.
So, number one, and I notice we're all wearing kind of the same hue here.
Spring's here.
Exactly. Number one, we want schools open in the fall, and we don't want outbreaks. So we don't want, an outbreak in an elementary school, in light of kids not having vaccinations. We want schools open, and we want them to stay open. So we understood, and we're really pleased that the CDC sees the effectiveness of the vaccines as so great that those of us who are vaccinated get to individually choose whether to wear a mask or not. But unfortunately, the politics have been such that Iowa and Texas then rushed to say no mask mandates when we still don't have a vaccine for that's okayed for elementary school students. And we see what's happened in India with the variants for kids. So what we've just basically said to the CDC is we don't want to be the mask police. Please give us some guidance. We'll figure out how to deal with it. Let's do this in the fall. Let's finish the school year this year safely, and we'll figure it out. But don't make us make it up as we go along every single day, and don't make us be the mask police.
So, Randi, what you would like is for the CDC to issue guidance saying that any child under 12 should wear a mask in school and continue to social distance. I think it's 3 feet now, not 6. Would that be helpful?
Correct. And then and instead of it becoming, because what we've seen, Nicole, is that anytime we raise these issues, we're not the doctors, we're the teachers, and so anytime we raise these issues, then people perceive it as we're trying to create obstacles to reopening. But it seemed pretty clear that this meant that if you had a vaccine, then you could take off your mask. What does that mean in terms of junior high schools, in terms of, outside, inside? I can figure out that outside it means go maskless. Inside, if you don't have good ventilation, maybe it means something else. So we've asked them that question. But the second piece that seems clear to us is what you just said, which is in elementary schools, until we have the vaccines, it seems like, unfortunately, we're going to have to still keep wearing our masks and be physically distant so that we don't have outbreaks, because we want to have school open.
Heidi Presbella, you've done some incredible reporting on ventilation in schools, and I thought that this would be like the moonshot, right? We don't have vaccines for small children, so surely we would put together all of our smartest people to make classrooms safe and well ventilated. Your reporting paints a slightly different picture. Explain.
Nicole, schools are sitting on billions of dollars in COVID relief money. And unfortunately, when Congress handed that money over, they didn't say, here are the scientifically proven machinery that you need to spend this on. They just said, go and make your classroom safe. Here's the money. And of course, whenever that happens, there are a lot of companies who are hard selling to these schools. These schools are very well intentioned. They're trying to protect children. But according to the experts who I talked to and who penned a letter about this, they're very concerned that some of these companies that are selling ionizing air cleaning equipment that is not scientifically proven to work could actually not just not work, but also potentially be harmful. And they say until we have that evidence and that information, these things should be shut off. Nicole, we're not talking about just a few schools. And this is back of the envelope surveying because we cannot find out exactly how many, but we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that have already been spent on these items. And now the Department of Education is saying, whoa, maybe we need to issue some more guidance about this.
It's just an unbelievably massive challenge. And I want to ask both of you about what to expect in the fall. I mean, obviously, there were great disparities with what remote learning offered. I mean, I have been remote teaching my son all year, and you basically have to have someone, an IT expert, you can call. It is not really achievable. And I wonder, Randy, how you help people make up who didn't have the Wi-Fi, who didn't have the technical expertise, who didn't have a parent making them do all the assignments with. What is the plan for the fall for making sure that the people that have fallen behind, that didn't have sort of the resources to keep up remotely, how do we catch them up? How do we catch them academically and socially and mentally?
Well, there's two plans, Nicole. One is for the summer and one is for the fall. And in the summer, you have a lot of districts, and I spent a lot of time last week talking about this. You have a lot of districts who have used the federal money in a way to do academics in the morning and enrichment in the afternoon, but really inject a lot of joy and fun in their summer program. Make it camp-like, have dance, have sports, have arts, so that kids feel a joy, not just a sense of, oh my God, look what I missed. And then in the fall, we have to first and foremost create a welcoming and safe environment. And this is part of where Heidi is so right. Breathing good air keeps a kid or a teacher well. And we need to really fix these ventilation systems, not continue to get something off the shelf that doesn't work. But second, the places that have wrapped services around schools. So you keep schools open for 10, 12 hours. You have the mental health services. You have guidance services. I was just in a school in Syracuse yesterday that had dental services. But you wrap services around schools so you can make sure that we deal with the trauma that arises whenever it arises. And then you have a combination of teachers doing the kind of assessment that they would normally do, intervention that they would do, and then you have a lot of tutoring and a lot of both enrichment as well as catch-up. The most important thing is for us to make sure we don't, that kids don't think that they're the cause of this. And I think a lot of kids, if we think about next year as a year of recovery and that this was a year of academic disruption, I think you're going to see a lot of kids accelerate in learning. But the most important thing is focus on their well-being and their emotional, social recovery, and let teachers do the kind of academic intervention that we need, plus tutoring aligned to that, in a school that is open as a community school many hours a day.